Hey everybody, this is Pat Mesiti, and here in Alice Springs, in my hotel room, as you can see there. Tonight at 6 p.m. Alice Springs time, wonderful Indigenous lady, Pastor Cherie, had organised for us to do an outdoor meeting on the lawn in Kedron Mall. This is on the lawn. This is outdoors. This is not in a church building. And I want you to hear this very clearly. However, the Uniting Church minister of Kedron Memorial Uniting Church, I was having a bit of a rest. I've been up since 2 a.m. this morning. And wonderful Pastor Sherry, she's just a wonderful lady. And still kept her joy, said, Pat, look, sadly, we're going to have to cancel tonight because the Kedron Uniting Church minister, the Reverend Hayes or whatever her name is, cancelled her meeting. Now, let me get this straight. We are in the middle of a mall, like a public mall, a public square. This is not your building. This is not someone's building. I thought this land belonged to the people, Indigenous people. You see, the left, when you go one way, they go the other. And anything that stands in their way, their cancel culture kicks in. If I was some left-wing Labor Party nutcase raising some BLM screaming flag, she'd probably have us there with open arms. And this Uniting Church minister, again, we were going to be on the street. We were out on the street today, trying to just to get a feel for the town. And tonight, this meeting that we planned on the street, when all the trouble is out there, when all the kids are running around drunk, on her mall, which is a public square, the Uniting Church. I wish they'd call themselves something else, because I tell you what, they're acting like the first church of the devil as far as I'm concerned. You cancel a meeting that a wonderful Indigenous lady's trying to do. So much for your talk that all you lefties out there go on about, we honour the land and you're welcome to country. Let me tell you something. It's a crock of nonsense. It is an absolute crock of nonsense. And you know what? Pastor Cherie, who's helped me organise my visit here, gracious, wonderful lady, says, we'll go somewhere else. And she says, no, maybe just rest up, because tomorrow morning we have our big breakfast meeting with leaders and some community leaders at a private restaurant. Thank God I haven't announced where that's going to be, because she probably would have stepped in and tried to cancel that. These folks are not church folks. They preach another Jesus that I don't know of. Jesus came to preach good news to the poor, to heal the brokenhearted, to set at liberty those that were captive. But apparently, the Uniting Church minister up here, who gets upset because she got a few emails, cancels someone that wants to help people on the street. Well, I'll tell you what, you fired me up even more. I'll pitch a tent up here and start preaching. I may not be able to do it today or tomorrow, but you've really stirred me up something fierce. And if you think you're going to stop me from getting up here, you and every left-wing demonic devil of socialism, if I was some, whatever her name is, from the Greens up here, you'd be cheering me with open arms. But because I am a Pentecostal, Spirit-filled believer, you decide to cancel me helping the salvation of broken kids. If I'd have just helped one child tonight get off drugs and alcohol, it would have been worth my trip over here. No, but your religious bigotry and that of the Uniting Church. What do? You cancel a meeting organised by an Indigenous leader, a leader in her community, of her tribe. You, a white Uniting Church lefty, Unbelievable. So we'll just hit the streets talking to people anyway. Now, obviously, can't put that on camera, but tomorrow I'll be interviewing leaders here, and I'll be posting this up here on social media. And this country is absolutely controlled by churches led by a bunch of lefty, woke, weak, liberal people. You know, even if you don't like me, let me tell you what the Apostle Paul said. Whether in pretense or in truth, we rejoice that Christ is preached. They can't even do that. Even Paul said, some of you say I'm of Apollos, some of you are this, some of you say I'm that. But Paul the Apostle said, whether in pretense or in truth, I just rejoice that Christ is preached. They can't do these lefty uniting church people, and half the Salvation Army, I might add, let alone the Pentecostals, who in this town, not all, I want to be very careful, not all. There's some great ones out there. Going, every time a meeting happens, they get their noses out of joint. And I'm not picking on the Pentecostals, I'm just saying to you. But some of them ought to hang their head in shame. They ought to hang their head in shame. We're trying to preach a gospel salvation message on a lawn. An area that just is open. You saw where I was, and then she's got the audacity on her wall to have a thing that says love heals. What? The hypocrisy is unbelievable. And people wonder why I get fired up about the preachers in this country. The progressive culture has ruined this nation. I bet you should have opened the door to Albo. I bet you should have opened the door to the Indigenous minister over here who's throwing money left, right and centre. And by the way, doing nothing, absolutely not a thing. I've been through the areas here. We went through a drive around town. Telling me that there's no brokenness? Have you looked outside? Have you looked outside of your church window? And what gets me is this whole thing about, we've got to honour you're not honouring an Indigenous elderly woman. It's a crock of nonsense. I could say a few other things, but my accountability pastors will probably get mad if I use the language I want to use. But I'll tell you what, you will stand before Almighty God one day. You'll stand before Almighty God, and I will find a way. All you've done is fuel my fire. That's all you've done. You picked on the wrong guy. You did. You picked on the wrong guy. So we'll find a way. May not be in front of your mall. Or how about this? How about you come on my program, because I know you're watching, and let's have a decent debate. How about we do that? But the cowardly left won't do that. See, they don't want truth exposed. And then you tell me, you say that it's about my prosperity message. What, am I going to take up an offering on the lawn among a bunch of people that are out there because they're broken and they're drunk? Are you serious? We're going there. I've got a pastor with me from the Gold Coast up here, just to come up here and we could help and just do whatever we could do. The brokenness. I'll tell you what I want everyone to do. Go back and watch the video that I posted today with Pastor Sherry. Now, tomorrow morning's breakfast, I will be sharing live. It'll be 8 a.m. or whenever it starts, you'll see it all come on. But I just cannot believe these people. They certainly don't preach the gospel that I understand. Let me remind you once again that Christ said he came to preach the gospel to the poor, to set at liberty those who are oppressed, the recovery of sight to the blind, and the acceptable year of the Lord. And Paul then said, I don't care who's preaching the gospel, as long as the gospel's preached. Obviously, preachers today don't believe that anymore. They honour their badge and their label. woke and progressive culture honors a badge and a label. They bow to an institution and a shrine rather than the Christ that they represent. And I'm telling you, one day, these people will stand before Almighty God and they'll have to give account. How dare you do that? Not to me, to one of your own. Well, she's not one of your own because you're a white woman and sitting like hierarchy over her. Absolutely disgusting. Anyway, my apologies, we won't be beaming anything live from the street where we were going to be tonight. But we'll be beaming in the breakfast tomorrow, and I'll be sharing with some leaders tomorrow. And then, of course, whatever else we can put up here, we can. But tonight's outdoor meeting outside the uniting church. Unbelievable. It wasn't even in the church. I want you to understand this, everybody. It was outside on a public area, a little mall. It's like a little garden area. And outside her walls of their buildings, got the audacity to put up there that love heals. Let me just remind you what 1 Corinthians says is. Love is gentle, love is kind. Love believes all things. And I could go on. Bible also says love covers a multitude of sins. And even if you got something against me for my prosperity message, shouldn't love overcome that? All those lovey-dovey love everybody, wave your rainbow, all this sort of people. It just shows to me that these people that preach progressiveness and that preach inclusion are the ones that exclude you if you don't agree with their leftist ideology, demonic agenda. But I tell you what, God's going to move in spite of you. And I tell you what, this nation will progress in spite of you. So anyway, like the good book says, it says wipe the dust off your feet and go somewhere else. So we may not be able to be there tonight, but I'll be doing my leaders meeting in the morning. And believe you me, I'll be back in Alice Springs. And I'll tell you what, I won't be coming alone. I'll be bringing some powerful leaders, men and women of God around this place. And for those of you that called and emailed the Flynn Memorial Uniting Church, thank you. Now, I do ask you to be respectful, but you don't need to do that either. God will deal with her. God will deal with her. And the conscience she doesn't have will deal with her as well. Anyway, God bless you, everybody. And a little disappointed. I'm a little bit heartbroken. I'm just trying to hold back my emotion. But we move on. And you know what? Here's a great thing. Tomorrow night we're going to be Pastor Caddy up here. Another one has opened up a door for us to do some work up here, which is great. And tomorrow morning with the ladies' breakfast. Tomorrow I'll hit the street. We'll just hit the pavement and go to the people and talk to them one-on-one. That's what we're going to do. We're going to help people. Do you know today, it's interesting, and I'll leave with this. We were talking about what my real heart is, to really set up something up here where we could get these young people off the street and get them into some education and maybe teach them some skills, mechanical skills, creative skills, because they're very creative. And sadly, their souls have been amputated, and so they medicate with alcohol. If the government of this country wanted to help Alice Springs, they'd stop the booze straight away. They'd shut the bottle shops immediately. By the way, I'm not saying, and I'm not moralizing here, I'm just saying if you really cared, you would put stronger restrictions on the distribution of alcohol in this city. Anyway, thanks for listening. Thanks for your support. We're going to carry on regardless. And thank you for your prayers. God bless you. I'll sure catch up in the next few days. Bye.